right, everyone. Good morning. So we've got about an hour to the bell and no positions yet. Sitting down, just kind of taking a look at the gap scan, seeing what's moving, seeing if we have anything for continuation. UPST is continuing from yesterday. That was a nice one. I mean, it really held up quite well. But of course, higher priced, so that creates a bit more risk. Probably watch resistance around the 200 moving average around 159 if we get up to that level today. KSCP provided some opportunities yesterday. You ended up getting a nice squeeze there up to 980, 995. Top. So that was good. Nice breakout of that range from earlier, right? So it finally did break out of this little wedge. And it broke out pretty nicely from 867 up to 9, up to 950, up to 986, and then it formed a bit of a 1-minute pullback. So yeah, so that's nice to see, but I mean, nothing there for me at the moment. Continuation would be if it broke over 10. And I don't know that it's going to give us good continuation because even yesterday it was a little bit choppy, right? So that's kind of a risk factor on it. But yeah, we can keep an eye on it and see if it does provide any opportunities. Let's see, I'm just checking something here. So I'm kind of just waiting for the next momentum stock. And hopefully, hopefully we get one soon. So KSCP, yesterday's level is 995. But it just never really, I mean, it opened up in kind of one little stretch and then that was it. It was right there. It opened up there and then that was it. First pullback, second pullback, choppy up at 936, 960. Quick break and then pulled back from there. Dipped down and then bounced up nicely, but it couldn't really open up. So probably best to wait for something stronger, something a little bit better. Above 1080, above 1235, then you start to get a bigger window up towards 17. I just don't see it happening. Leading gapper this morning is MRIN. It's only up 23%. So I'm not interested in that. The move was after hours and then pre-market has just been weak. BKKT, I hadn't looked at that one, but it's pulling back. So no interest on that right now. BTNR, 54 million share float, disregarding it. Well, if I don't see anything worth trading in my big account, maybe I'll take a trade in the small account. Yes, George. Either later this month or early next month. BTNR announces 5-year renewable diesel supply agreement. So yeah, this one, 50 million share float, easy to borrow. These are ones that typically are choppy. No, Roy, we didn't record that. Overall market pulling back a little bit, still above the 200 moving average. So GameStop did have a higher float. And it's not just float, but it's relative volume and float rotation. The volume on GameStop was phenomenal. It was incredible. And that overpowered the somewhat higher float. And so we still had float rotation despite the float being higher. That's not as common. This was a very special circumstance, a very special event. Most of the times that you see parabolic stocks, sure, something like KSCP, and this was parabolic in the sense that it went from $8 to $28. Float on this one, 14 million shares. That's going to be the type of stock that's more likely, that float, to make that type of move. INDO, this was one that made a pretty big move on this day from $3 to $9. Float on this one, 2.2 million shares. DWAC, this float's a little higher, but 37 million, but it had a lot of social media interest. So this one still ended up working. It just varies. It depends. Yeah, and VTNR, it doesn't look super stacked up on the level two. We've seen worse. Hook yesterday, this one was worse to me, and I didn't trade it. The float on that one was 22 million shares. But you can look at the level two, you can get a little bit of a sense of how it's trading. You can see Hook really stacked up with sellers. And it traded in a pretty narrow range all day, with the exception of one nice rip, which was right here around 2 o'clock. No, nothing's been announced, Peter. So no, not sure. So let's see. So it's about 8:48. So just sitting, waiting to see if we do get news. So something like VTNR or whatever. If I see it hitting my high day Momo scanner, can pull it up, look at the level two. I'll see as soon as I look at the level two if it's easy to borrow, what the margin restriction is. That's that information right there. I'll certainly see how much it's up on the day. I'll see how much it's moving. I'll see the tape, and I'll be able to tell pretty quickly whether or not this is something that I would want to trade. And when I see something I like, I don't hesitate. I jump in very quickly. So usually if something was spiking up, it would be because there's a news headline that just broke. We've had times where HLBZ is a good example of this. This stock puts out news headlines almost every day. You did have a couple of huge moves on it from 8 to 25. And then on this day from 6 to 14. And then on this day from 27 to 41. It went crazy. HLBZ, the float is 1.5 million shares, and it was putting out news. There was news on this day, then again on this day. But then we sort of recognized that they were putting out news every day, and started to question the quality of the news, the value of it, and so stopped kind of focusing on it. And I didn't take any trades on Hook yesterday. I left that one alone. The general decline in volume here has been tough. Chris, I think you have to save your layout at the end of each day, and then when you reload it, it'll reload those same symbols. Yeah, so our leading gapper is just not a very big gapper. That's kind of the issue here. It's only 20%. So we'll see if we get any breaking news at 9 a.m. that puts something else front and center. Thanks, William. That's a good idea. IMTX. Let me look. News at 8:50. It's nothing. Nothing's happening. Reminder as always for those tuning in on YouTube that trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money, and my results are not typical. I encourage you to take it slow, trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose, and don't blindly follow me or anyone else. Yeah, I don't know why they halted YMTX, but yeah, halted it, but resume now for the big spread. 7 million share float. Not sure. Doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. UPST opening up a bit more. Wouldn't really be a buyer up here after missing all of that. Morning, Trey. VTNR back below VWAP. All right. So, yeah, slow markets like this are they're difficult. They test your patience. You want to be actively trading, and you can trade as much as you'd like. There's always something moving. It's just how much range do you have? KSCP yesterday had some range. You could have actively traded it all day if you wanted to, but it didn't go really parabolic. And I sort of feel like I've gotten into a place where I'm really good at trading parabolic momentum, and I'm not as good at trading slow moving grinders. A few years ago, when parabolic momentum wasn't as frequent, I was really mostly trading slow moving grinders and catching those small 5 to 10 cents. But the strategy is a little different because when you have parabolic momentum, uh, it's an opportunity to be a lot more aggressive. And when you try to be that aggressive on a slow moving grinder that's choppy, you're going to end up bringing your average too high, getting caught in flushes, and then the breakouts aren't as big, and you just don't do as well. That's been my experience. So I tend at this point to kind of like go on a tear when things are hot, and then when things are slow, I'm like, you know, it's like it'd be like watching a Lamborghini on the highway in a snowstorm. They're going like 20 miles an hour and fishtailing all over the place because they don't have snow tires. They have total like summer track tires, and but then the conditions are different and they're going to blow by you. And that's kind of the way I feel in these markets where I just sort of feel like I'm not. It's just hard for me to dial it back down. And, at a certain point, market conditions will force you to dial it back down. And in a Lamborghini, be content with just going 25 miles an hour and don't go faster than that, or make some type of adjustment to make it possible to make a little more progress. And, it's hard to make a lot of progress in a slow market. If you're willing to trade large caps and just try to catch a piece of anything that's active, then, you may be able to do a little bit better than someone who's a bit more stubborn and doesn't want to go outside of small caps. Obviously UPST was a great swing trade. Mike had that from yesterday. It's very, very solid, very nice. That he's up more than I am today. I'm at 0 on the day. He's green. So, that's good. Of course, he primarily trades large caps, but he has a much higher level of patience, and he's able to be patient with the large caps. And being patient with small caps, it's not always a good idea. You get too patient, you give them time, and next thing you know, you're holding, $1.50 below VWAP as it comes back down or goes red on the day. You don't always want to be patient with these. You want to just, get in, get your profit, get out. And then if it holds up, get back in. If it starts to open up, then that might be the opportunity to start to size up and, whatever. But so I'm kind of spinning my wheels here the last, I don't know, month or so. Some green days, but then a red day, some green days, a red day, making some progress, but not a lot. And I know that when things pick back up, I'll take off. But I don't know when that'll happen, and we never know. It could be slow for another month. It could be slow for 6 months. It could be slow for just a couple more days. You don't know. I've traded for a long time. There's always been hot periods and slow periods. Sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're longer. And when they're hot, you want to try to be as aggressive as you can and put some of that profit away to tide you over when it's slow. When it's slow, you want to have the discipline to be able to slow down with the market, trade less, and be a bit more patient waiting for opportunities. And I'm not good at that. It's a weak point in me and my personality. It's not a weak point within strategy. It's an execution of strategy, which is what's hard. So, there's been years. I remember in 2000, maybe it was 17 or 18, when Bitcoin was really, really hot. The small caps were kind of slow. A lot of people were focusing on cryptocurrency. And I think traders just said, you know what, the small cap market is dead. I'm going to go trade crypto. And they left the market and traded crypto for a while. And then crypto slowed down and they, came back to, then we had, so some people are very willing just to go wherever there's opportunity. OTC market, large cap, small cap, crypto. And, I kind of have just hunkered down with small caps, and occasionally I'll dip into large caps a little bit. But beyond that, I don't go out into crypto, and I haven't gone down to the OTC markets. So I end up having periods where I make a lot of progress and then it's a little bit slow. And I make a lot of progress and then it's a little bit slow. So it's a little bit slow right now. I'm looking forward to, just the next single stock that holds up really well and provides multiple days of opportunity. A stock like that, I could start getting into the flow state, actively buying dips, selling rips, just getting really dialed in. And those are days where next thing I know, I can look at my P&L and I'm looking at a huge number. But I need those opportunities. So, at the moment, I don't see anything today. Our leading gapper is 23%. It's Dash, which is higher priced, somewhat higher float. This one may be like UPST yesterday, which, was kind of selling off a little bit, but then broke through that level. So it may be worth watching over 120. Which is sort of its pre-market level here. But naturally, at this price, you've got to be mindful of your share size. If you got in at 120, it could drop back down to the VWAP of 116. That's 3-4 points. So definitely got some risk. You've got a 45-cent spread on it right now. So I don't know. But if it did break that level, then you start getting this bigger move. But honestly, the moves that I like are like, those candles right there where it rips up. That's the type of candle that I want to be trading right there, the first pullback and right there. And, that was, as it turns out, that was as the news was breaking, basically. And of course, I wasn't sitting here at that time yesterday. So, yeah. So anyways, on my small account challenge, let's see. I do have a small account up right here, which I may trade in, periodically. I'm not starting the small account challenge officially yet. I'll draw the account down a little bit more before I do the next small account challenge. But, just have it there in case there's nothing suitable in the big account. Maybe take 1 or 2 trades with the small account. I just might not want to bring out the big guns of the big account if there's nothing that looks good. And we don't have a good gapper. We don't have leading gapper. I haven't taken any trades yet, so probably won't take any trades in the big account today. Maybe just take 1 or 2 in the small account and then go on to the next day. So yeah, small account challenge. I'm at net profit of 9.6 million. Gross profit is 10.8. So 10.8 million since January 1st, 2017. So it's taken me about 5+ years to turn less than $600 into over 10 million in gross profit. It took some time, averaging 8,000, 9,000 a day. Average winners $1,700, average losers $1,900. As always, my results are not typical. These are very atypical results. It took a long time to be able to grow this account. This wasn't overnight. So you should keep that in mind as you look at it. But this is trading momentum. So there have been periods in this 6 year, 5-6 year window that have been really, really hot and periods that have been really, really cold. And I get through them, I get to the other side. So my next goal on that account is to get over 10 million in net profit. I'm over 10 million in gross. So I've got another 330,000 to go to get over it in net. So I want to cross over 10 million in net profit. And that could happen within a month in hot markets. Right? Now in a cold market, that could take longer. 6 months, who knows? But that's just there's nothing I can do about that except for show up and look for opportunities. Yeah. So I do have the small account up. It's a CMEG account. So that account's ready to go. So I have 5,000 in the small account right now. Yep, reminder for those on YouTube, Valentine's Day sale. Last chance to save 40% if you'd like. $5,000, Michael. And want to congratulate Horatio, who got his 50K badge on Tuesday. Congratulations. George got his upgrade to 100K. We're proud of him. Michael Lee, you got your 100K badge as well. And Kevin, you got your 25K badge. Good work. Proud of you guys. We don't track the typical result of our students. We don't have access to their broker statements, but we do have badges in chat that we make available for those that would like it. We've got 8 students right now who have received a $1 million badge. Those are the all-stars. Those are the 8 most successful students who have verified their gains out of all of the students that I've ever taught. So we'll be excited to give the 9th and 10th $1 million badges, hopefully in the coming months. But as always, there's no guarantee of success in this market, in trading. We have about 11 minutes to the bell. Well, I haven't set a goal, but I'm really, really proud to have helped those 8 students make over $1 million, and that's awesome. I suppose that's probably not the. That's not the goal that I had when I came into the market. My goal when I came in was if I could make $200 a day. That's 50,000 a year. So it would take 20 years at that rate to make $1 million. But $50,000 a year for me at that time had the opportunity to be life changing. So I don't want to discount the life changing effect that making 50,000 a year could have for someone. It's not $1 million. That would have a very life changing effect, I suppose. But it requires a willingness to take a lot of risk. And you've seen from some of the interviews I've done with the million dollar students, they come from different places in life, sort of a span of ages. One is a college student, all the way up to some who are sort of semi-retired, and so different risk tolerances, different account sizes that they came in with, different sets of experience and aptitudes, but ultimately, I think small success is probably a better focus point. It would seem to me more obtainable to try to reach for 50,000 a year than to reach for 500 or $1 million. It would take a lot less risk in trading to make 50 than 500 or 5 million. So starting small is the right place, and then growing from there. And so it's been really exciting to have students go from 25K badge to 50K badge to 100K badge and watch them progress as they move up from 500K badge to 750K to $1 million. That's been really, really cool. And, we've got, a number that we're seeing that with. So those are students who started, sort of just slow and steady. And that's phenomenal. Again, I don't want to say that that's a typical result because we don't track what is typical, but we're proud of those traders. Those are in chapter 17, the successful, profitable trader interviews. Yep, chapter 17. Trading is hard, and it's hard, even for me still today. These types of periods really challenge me. They challenge my patience, my emotional composure, discipline. I can get frustrated. I have a big enough account where I can start if I really get frustrated and I start slamming those keys, next thing you know, I'm in a $700,000 position, and I could lose a couple 100,000 very, very quickly if I let myself. So it is important to throttle back, slow down. I get super frustrated with myself when I have unnecessary losses. Those to me are losses that are avoidable if I had been willing to be more patient. So, I do feel like I'm always in a stress cycle of making back losses and then for a period being at all-time highs and then digging myself another hole. Stress cycle begins again, recouping losses, then back to all-time highs. So it's like that's it's very stressful. Even at the level of 9 or $10 million in profit. And there's traders that are 10, 20, $30 million ahead of me who have those stress cycles on an even bigger level. They draw down $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and then rally back up. I'm sure there's investors, hedge fund investors that have it on the 100 million, $1 billion level. So learning to cope with that stress is probably required if you want to be able to continue to excel. About 5 minutes to the opening bell. Yeah, Richard, I mean, I could easily see that happening. And, I've told the story of $100 million loss. This trader who made $100 million trading over the course of several years during the dot-com bubble. And then when the market changed, he didn't. He was headstrong and he lost it all. He took money out only to pay taxes. And so he didn't take any profit out for buying a house or doing anything. And then he lost it all. So it is important to be willing to see that's like an emotional spiral. The stakes get higher and higher and higher, and you get more and more emotionally activated, and you start letting it all ride just to get back. And that's a gambling mentality. And maybe that was a problem in that scenario, in that situation. But it is important if you start digging a hole, stop the digging, stop the bleeding, step back, slow down, check yourself into trader rehab if you need to. I'm capping my shares size right now because this isn't the market that calls for 30, 50,000 share positions. Last year I was taking 30, 50, 75, 100,000 share positions, and naturally I did quite well. This market right now today isn't calling for that. And so I've scaled that back, and I'm just kind of grinding on smaller numbers until things open up again. But it's a good time to be learning. If you can do well in these market conditions, that is a very good indicator for you. So you can see Dash squeezing up a little bit there, but the spreads right now, 25, 30 cents. It's not too bad, I guess. About 3 minutes to the bell. So the trigger on Dash was 119. The problem is that this is clearly resistance. And this just popped from 117. It popped up $2 a share. So if it breaks 120, your next target's 122. So those on YouTube, thank you for tuning in this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the morning show. Some days I'll stream a little longer. Some days I'll stream a little less, depending on what's going on in the market. Doesn't look like there'll be a whole lot moving, but I'll keep streaming for Warrior Pro students until I throw in the towel for the day. And if there's opportunity in the next hour, whatever, we'll find it. So, reminder as always, in case you didn't know, trading is risky. Take it slow. My results are not typical. The typical result of most beginner traders is losing money. So, trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. Don't trade money you can't afford to lose, and don't blindly follow me or anyone else. All right, we'll be back tomorrow for YouTube folks. JP, how long would it take you to get through the Warrior Pro class? Well, the classes right now, it's about 100 hours of content. So I suppose that depends on how much time you have. But if you want to try, if you try to, you just have to be careful.